All right, next up, we're gonna talk about his heiress. We're gonna talk about MJ.
Yeah, yeah.
So, interesting thing has come across the pipe, with respect to Michael Jordan over the course of the last week. Apparently, Michael Jordan is in serious talks to sell the majority of his stakes in the Charlotte Hornets. Um, for anyone who doesn't know much about the NBA or follow sports or Michael Jordan is the only black owner in the NBA. And he's one of very few, if not the only majority black owner of any professional sports franchise in this country. Bob Johnson used to own the Charlotte Bobcats. He sold it to some white person. Jordan bought it from that white person. Initially, Jordan had a minority stake, but eventually Jordan said, no, I want to own the whole thing. So now he's a majority. He owns the majority of the shares, thereby making him majority owner of the Charlotte Hornets. I always thought that this was a positive thing, but it looks like it might be coming to an end pretty soon. Looks like Jordan is looking to sell off his majority shares of the Charlotte Hornets, which would in effect make him no longer the owner of the Charlotte Hornets. So there's some chatter and some talk around this particular situation. So I'm gonna go ahead and just read a little bit from this opinion piece. This is from Marca sports blog on the internet, credible news source. It says Michael Jordan, best player in history, but worst owner. Uh, Many regard Michael Jordan as the greatest basketball player of all time, but he's been less successful as an owner. His record at Charlotte isn't easy reading for fans, and his time there could soon be coming to an end. Jordan first became a minority stakeholder in the then Charlotte Bobcats in 2006 and became majority owner of the franchise in 2006. In 2014, the team rebranded as the Hornets. Last week, it became known that Air Jordan was weighing up selling most of his shares in the franchise. If he does so, he will leave as one of the worst owners of all time. Um, excuse me. Losing record in the 17 seasons since Jordan joined the organization, Charlotte have only finished with a positive win-loss balance in four. So they've only had a better than 500 record four times in 17 years that Jordan owned the team. Of those, they only made it to the playoffs in three, losing in the first round on each occasion. Of all NBA teams, no one is on a longer streak of not reaching the playoffs than the Hornets, who haven't reached the postseason since 2016. With Jordan on board, the team has an overall win rate of 41.9%. That's not good. Uh, these numbers include the worst season by any team in NBA history when the Bobcats won just 10.6% of their games in the 2011-12 season. That season included a losing streak of 23 games. And then it goes on to talk about certain other aspects of the team during Michael Jordan's stewardship. There have been other conversations taking place from other content creators. Colin Cowherd, in particular, talked about Jordan possibly selling a team and sort of remarked similar in this fashion to how Michael Jordan has kind of been a me first, selfish kind of guy, and how him selling the team is sort of the coalescence of a bad ownership tenure with him at the helm of the Charlotte Hornets. So this is kind of big NBA news, kind of at the executive ownership level, with Jordan potentially selling the team. Penny, for your thoughts on what you have to say about Jordan potentially no longer being the owner of the Hornets.
um, Long overdue, in my opinion. I was just baffled by those draft selections. That
Yeah,
thing said he picked MKG over Bradley Bill and Damian Lillard.
yeah,
That's a wild lifestyle. Like, and I don't know what he does when he's doing his stuff. Whenever there's moves being made during free agency, none of them make sense. And just like, the draft picks, none of it makes sense. It was just not being run well. I always saw him more of I didn't really think he'd be much of a coach. So I think he would have been more of an exec kind of a guy. So
yeah.
this more
Yeah.
or less fit his role, but I don't think he has the skill set for this, you know. And athletically, the guy was a monster. Uh, Mentality wise, when it comes to being competitive, uh, he he was a monster. So I figured he would, bring that into this arena, but it just did not translate. And man, probably about a decade into it, I was already like, "Hey, man, this needs to stop. This is not good." I hoped that he would get better, and then it just didn't. I thought the corner would turn with Ball, because I thought Ball was hype until I seen him play his first preseason game, and I was like, oh, okay, bro, legit. But the roster still didn't make sense. And honestly, man, the from character to culture, none of it's right in Charlotte. And so I think it'd be best to cut ties. I won't look at him as a quitter. Um, I looked at it like he took on a challenge. Um, he wanted a new challenge in life. He took it on. He didn't succeed, but he was still up there. So I don't really fault him for this, but I feel like enough's enough. That's why I said like
Yeah.
a decade ago he should have called this, because now they can start stringing all these other metrics together that got him look even crazier, because it wasn't going to get
Yeah.
any better and it didn't. So,
Right.
but how about you, man? How do you feel about Mr. Air here? Probably calling the quits.
Man, and not only that, but when he selected Cody Zeller, Giannis was still on the board.
Oh,
Cody Zeller, Cody Zeller, coincidentally enough, currently playing for my Miami Heat, stinking up the joint. Um, that's a story for another video. But Cody Zeller, when he was selected, Giannis was still on the board. Um, you know, he selected somebody named Noah Vonleh. I don't even know who that is. Zach Levine was still on the board. I don't even like Zach Levine, but he's better than this guy because I don't even know who that guy is. Um, when he selected Frank Kaminsky, Devin Booker was still on the board. When he selected
Frank
Malik Monk,
Kaminsky.
yes. when he selected when he when he selected Malik Monk, Donovan Mitchell, and Bam Adebayo were still on the board.
Oh,
And when he selected Shea Gilgis Alexander, he immediately Shea Gilgis Alexander was traded on draft night in order to acquire Miles Bridges. Now, Miles Bridges is good. He's not SGA.
no,
SGA is a beast. So that is also looking
and
not
it's
very
and it's
good.
clear character issues with Bridges.
Right, yeah. Correct. So yeah, I mean, but see, here's the thing for me, because that is a bad to read that off. That's a hard pill to swallow, especially if you are a Jordan fan. But like they always say that skills as a player don't translate to skills as an executive, or vice versa. A lot of the great coaches were average to below average players, and a lot of the great GMs were also average to below average players. It's a different brain chemistry in terms of that kind of skill set. But the reason why this makes me sad is because um, I am of the belief, and I'm gonna go galaxy brain a little bit here.
All
I'm
right.
going to I'm going
Yeah.
to I'm going to invoke my inner Stephen A. Smith, if if if
Oh
if
shit.
if, if I can for a moment.
Okay.
Um, the reason why this makes me sad is because um, I do think that sports are a microcosm of regular society. So if you want to understand what's going on in sports, you can sort of extrapolate that to the same observations that you can make in society. Sports are just a reflection of what's going on in the rest of the world. And one of the things that we talk about, I know you and I talk about this a lot. I don't think we'll ever see this in the NFL because the NFL is too much of a cabal. You can't infiltrate the NFL. You can't do it. It's the NFL is just this impenetrable force field. You can't infiltrate it. But the NBA is a different story. And I believe personally that the more non-white owners you have owning franchises, the better. So, like, I think that, and again, I've given up on the NFL. I don't think this will ever happen in pro football, but I think that there's still a chance that this can happen in baseball, but in particular the NBA. And Michael Jordan was sort of a beacon for that possibility because he was a black majority owner of a team. And with him selling the shares with him selling the majority of his shares, in all likelihood to a white person, I would imagine. I don't think he's going to sell it to I mean, how many black billionaires you got out there who can buy this, who can afford this? I don't know. But I'm assuming that this is going to be sold to a person who ain't black. Um, I'm not gonna say it's a bad look because hey, you can turn a profit on a sports franchise. Do what you do, Jordan. And like you said, he did give it a go. He's owned it for 17 years, so it is what it is. So I'm not going to necessarily look upon him negatively and say it's a bad look. But I do think that symbolically it's unfortunate because I perceive it as taking a step backwards in terms of the idea that you can have actual black people owning these franchises. And like Colin Cowherd talks about this often on his show. Um, and as an aside, in my opinion, I think Colin Cowherd does sports commentary the best, in my opinion. But he talks about this often on his show. Like the way that this world is kind of going crazy, no one knows what's going on with the economy. No one knows what's going on with, you got people trying to, you know, um, real estate is a volatile market. The stock market itself is volatile. Cryptocurrency is volatile.
Super.
Uh, uh, you know, uh, NFTs and all of these weird new currencies and all of these new things are volatile. Nothing is a sure bet. Nothing in this world is a sure bet. But the one thing in this world that is a sure bet is owning a pro sports franchise. It's the one thing that an individual can acquire that will print them money, even if the team isn't doing well. And after about 30 to 40 years, you've accumulated such generational wealth that it's just going to last into perpetuity for forever until the world ends, which means so much if you can manage to keep it within your own cipher and within your own family, which is what these NFL owners do. They don't sell teams. You know, situations like the Broncos, that happens like once every 100 years. That never happens where an NFL team just comes up for sale. These things don't get sold. They stay in the family or some kind of close confidant because they're money printers. Even bad teams are printing money. And it's the same in the NBA, especially when you factor in these TV deals and these contracts like this. So, like, to have a guy who's black owning a team to me was a positive because it symbolized something bigger than just running a franchise and running sports. And it was sort of, symbolic of this idea that you can get some black people owning some teams. And you know me, people want to talk about racism all day and people want to talk about equality and blah 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 blah. And you know me, I've been consistent in saying that these are economic observations more so than anything else. And the way that you sort of stem the tide and eradicate a lot of these societal issues is through the accumulation of generational wealth, appreciable assets and resources. That's how you remove yourself from these various things. And so Jordan, to me, represented a step in the right direction in terms of black people being able to push for something like that. Not saying that tomorrow we're going to get a bunch of black billionaires trying to purchase majority stakes in teams, but just what it represented. And so for him to sell the team, to me, is just sad because I feel like we'll be going backwards from that cause. And it's even going to look worse if he sells it to a white guy and then the team starts doing better. That's going to look even worse. Because, like, what if, the new owner shows up, assuming that this goes down, some new guy, some white guy, let's say hypothetically, is now the majority owner of the Hornets. All of a sudden, they're making the right draft picks. They're finessing the salary cap way better. They're signing great free agents. And now the Hornets are getting into the playoffs, second round, semifinals, conference finals, hell, maybe even getting to the finals. Who knows? It's gonna make Jordan's tenure look even worse. And it's gonna make things like what I'm saying right now look like pie in the sky notions even more so, because the idea is, why should anybody care about something like more black people owning teams? Look at what this guy did when he bought the team from Jordan and the team started doing better. So it just makes me sad. Um, cool. I mean, at the end of the day, Jordan is going to do his thing. In all likelihood, he's going to make significantly more money in selling the team than he did when he initially purchased it. Because, like I said, these things print money. Even when the teams are trash, they still print money. These people still go to games. These teams print money. The only pro teams that don't print money are like WNBA teams, because who cares about the WNBA? Other than the WNBA, and I don't know much about like Major League Soccer, or I don't know too much about hockey, but I'm pretty sure hockey turns a profit too. But this NBA, this MLB, as old as those fans are, and this NBA, MLB, and NFL, they're money printers. And so, it's just sad to see that this could be coming to an end, even though Jordan didn't do a very good job. So, um, I usually rail against symbolism because I think it amounts to nothing for the most part. But Jordan was actually a black person who owned a team outright. And I do think that black ownership in professional sports is something that we need to be talking more about, because, like I said, sports are a microcosm of the rest of society. You get more black people owning teams, you're probably going to have more black people running Fortune 500 companies and doing the right thing, acquiring generational wealth, and removing themselves from these various problems in society the best, most efficient way. And I think Jordan selling the team will take that particular cause a step backwards.
I mean, I hear that angle. I don't. Hopefully, it doesn't. I don't think that it. I don't think that it would. Me personally, I look at Jordan completely objectively, in the sense that he is he's a really selfish man, and so this situation to me, uh, it worked on a basketball court, being egotistical, being the man, being the loudest, being the rudest, you having the last word, having the last say, and having the last shot. And that worked on a basketball court because that's a game. But when you're dealing with business, being an executive, if you want to have the last say, have the this, have the that, bring this person in, sign them to this because you see something in him. Hey, bro, you're not signing people to jump, man. You trying to get people to win a championship. So just because you like his game, don't mean you got to sign him to all these millions of dollars. That was his problem. He kept doing that over and over again, and he didn't see his own pattern. And apparently, too many yes men or something like that. But that's his problem of being too egotistical in my book. That all this was screaming ego, ego, ego. This entire debacle. And I was like, yeah, he's chewing himself to death, just gnawing at himself. Ah. Hey, why don't you delegate? Because that majority owner, the hypothetical one that you made that possibly might come in and they might fix stuff, he's gonna delegate.
Yeah.
His head isn't so far up his own ass that he's not gonna fucking draft Frank Kaminsky. Unreal. I can't believe that.
Cody Zeller. Yeah.
Don't get me started. When he signed Rozier to that contract, I wasn't mad. I was happy that Rozier got that bag. But it was just like, bro, you gave him money. Like Rozier's he was the perfect piece for what the Celtics were doing. Where's the thing for him to do what he was doing for the Celtics? He's not going to average 30 a game, 25 a game. What are you doing? But he does it over and over again. So to me, this was him getting a harsh pill of reality that living so selfishly doesn't pay off when you actually have to have a team sport. And when he was out there playing, this is my criticism. Yeah, I'm going there, y'all. And when my criticism of him as a basketball player, he was too individualistic. I don't like that form of basketball. And I like when everybody's is give and take equal, everybody, you know what I'm saying, pushing the ball, running, getting buckets, doing a job, you know. Now was Jordan a hell of a player? Yeah, we're not gonna get into that. All I'm saying is I like sharing. I like community. I don't like individualism because that can lead to this scenario. I mean, look at the draft picks. I mean, they ran it down. The win percentage, the playoff appearances. I mean, all of that speaks for itself. And that speaks to somebody who's not understanding what they're doing.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
if you're a real boss, you will understand that and then delegate that to people who do know what the hell they're doing. And you get all the credit still. That's the
Yeah.
play.
Yeah.
But no, I want to make the pick. And I did it. So okay, I 40% win percentage. So have at it. So
Yeah.
hey man, it does suck. I hear what you're saying for the angle like that.
Right.
But I'm also hollering like you said, who's the person that could step up outside of a Jay-Z like we discussed before, or somebody that's actually got money like that to actually make a play.
Mhm.
So but yeah, Jay-Z already with the dealing somewhat with the Nets, right? So
No, he been sold. No, he's been sold that. That's a long
okay,
time
yeah.
ago. He been off
Whoop
of
de
that.
whoop, y'all.
Yeah,
But hey,
he trying to partner up with Jeff Bezos to see if maybe they can buy the Commanders.
okay, well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I mean,
Allegedly.
we might get it with Jay Z. He's next up. So yeah, and Mike, man, I
No,
just
yeah.
got on him right there, but yeah, man, just chill and play golf, bro. Play poker and chill. He
Yeah,
earned
so
it.
right. I'm conflicted. Like a part of me says, "Hey, look, you did it. It is what it is. It didn't work out. You didn't do it. It was a bad tenure as an owner." But he is going to sell it for more than he bought it for. So he's going to walk away. That in and of itself is a success. Um, and yeah, you're largely considered to be the greatest player ever, so it is what it is. But I'm just looking sort of overall, and I'm saying, one less black owner of a team, and
Yeah,
that's
I
too
got
bad. To me, I'm just saying like that's just too bad. And yeah, I mean, I hear the whole Jay-Z Bezos thing. We talked about that on the previous video on this channel. I invite everybody to go check that video out. It was a good video. But yeah, you know how I feel about rappers. And
yeah,
so, that's my only issue with Jay-Z is a rapper being the next guy to own a team. But it is what it is. I'll take what I can get. But yeah, I just, it's just sad. It's just sad. It's sad not because I think that he shouldn't sell it because he's doing a good job.
right,
It's
right.
sad because it's one less black person owning one of these money printing businesses. But in terms of job performance, yeah, he should sell it because he's done a poor job. So I guess it's both of the things, it's both of those things at the same time. So
Yeah,
it is what it is. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out. And it'll be very interesting to see who is the person who ends up buying this stuff. Because one thing about these owners who run successful franchises, you never know who they are. They show up, it's some rich ass person, wealthy. They show up, they buy it. You don't know who the person, you don't know their name. And like you said, they delegate. They hire a good GM, they hire a good president, and they make sure that the head coach is right. Next thing you know, the team is doing better. I don't even
yeah,
know who bought the Jazz. Like, who's the name? What's that guy's name who bought the Jazz? I don't even know that guy's name. But look at what the Jazz literally came into this season with the intention to tank. And somehow, some way, they came out winning games and looking way better than they should, given the fact that they traded Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert. They just gave away their best players because they were trying to tank. Fired the coach, who was a good coach. Snyder's a good coach. They were resetting. New dude on the team, and the Jazz are basically trotting guys out there and just playing way above their means. And so, that's what happens when you got these guys who they may not know as much as they need to know about basketball, but they know how to run a successful ship.
yeah.
And so, it is what it is, man.
Jordan
But
went to school. Jordan went to school to be a 6-time NBA champion. He didn't go to
yeah,
school to be an NBA executive.
Yeah, correct. Yeah,
So
yeah. So it is what it is, man. We'll see what happens, but until then, Jordan might be selling the Hornets and yeah, riding off into the sunset to go play golf and
yeah,
do
man, enjoy
whatever else
that.
he's doing. Yeah,
Yeah.
watch his son, date Larsa Pippen.
Hey, Marshall for the streets. For the streets.
Oh boy, yeah, man.